Yeah, yeah. Thank y'all so much for checking in to another episode of the Klyph Notes podcast. Got another real good conversation for you. Had a chance to sit and chop it up. Portland MC, Randal Wyatt. Been doing things in Portland for a minute. We talked about his early career. Early collaborations, rocking as a solo artist. Building the Speaker Minds band. All kinds of stuff, man. Doing shows in Portland, up and down the West Coast. It's another good one, man. Portland hip-hop is in the building. So check out the latest episode of the Klyph Notes podcast. Make sure you share with all your family and friends. Dope conversation with Randal Wyatt. Support for the Klyph Notes podcast comes from Acapella Apparel, an idea born from a love of hip-hop, funk, and soul music and its surrounding cultures. With fashion being a huge visual part of the cultures, they've created expressive images to pay homage, invoke nostalgia, and showcase the elements that make up the lifestyle and cultures of these genres. Acapella, apparel for the music lifestyle. For more information, check out acapella.com. That's AKEPELE.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, the show you're about to listen to may contain explicit content. So guess what? You need to put them babies to sleep. This is for grown folks only. So we're not held liable for anything you might be offended by. Thank you for listening.
Yes. We back again. It's another episode of the Klyph Notes podcast with your host, DJ Klyph, man. And you know, we are available everywhere you listen to your podcast: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, Pandora. We on Pandora now. You know, we blowing up. Man. We all over the nation. Shout out to my people out in shoot, I forgot the map. Like, we got people in Italy and Spain and Australia. I know we got people who rock with me in Australia because they connect with me on the regular. But this one's cool. We've been trying to make this one happen for a while, and to get a chance to sit and chop it up with this cat. Pretty excited. But I'm just gonna stop talking. Let them know who you are, cat.
I'm Randal Wyatt, man. That's my bad. I've been doing the most lately, man. So it's hard to schedule this. I appreciate the flexibility and you know, sticking with me.
Nah, bro. I'm glad we making it happen, bro. Yeah. It's kind of funny. So prepping for this one, like thinking about going back, it's been cool for me to just be reflective of when I first learned of you and what you do. And then looking at where you are now in 2019 compared to when I first met you. So let's go back a little bit.
All right, yeah. Let's way back. We've known each other for a while now.
Exactly, B. So when I first found you, getting to know the local scene, the local Portland hip-hop scene, you were Diesel P.
Yeah, I was.
You know what I mean? So I'm going back.
I was trying to hide that. But
we doing this. You know what I'm saying?
People still call me Diesel. And
yeah.
I actually just posted a video the other day. I'm starting to like be appreciative of that time of my life, but I just feel like I've grown so much since then. I took all that music off the internet.
Oh, like people can't find it?
Nah,
oh,
nope.
Shoot. Look, I got folders on my laptop, cat.
You do.
I don't know, bro. Y'all need to listen to Welcome to the Neighborhood. Y'all might hear some classic Diesel feed. But let's talk about that. Let's talk about your start in music. So you from Portland?
Born and raised, yeah.
That's what's up.
Went to Grant High School, you know. Yeah. Benson too for a little bit. But yeah, born and raised.
Word.
Yeah.
And then in terms of your start in music, like where's that all come from?
Man, I've always been a fan. I mean, I grew up in a musical house. Like my dad was a bass player in a funk band. Well, when he was in high school, he wasn't active when I was growing up or anything. He gave it up for work and to support us. But there's always music playing. Both my brothers were heads. I had one brother who's significantly older than me. He's like 8 years older than me. He was an East Coast cat. And this was the mid-90s. The East Coast, West Coast shit was going on, right?
Yeah.
So he was an East Coast cat or East Coast style type of cat. So he was always trying to put me on the Wu-Tang and all that stuff. And then I had another brother 2 years older than me that was on nothing but Bay Area, West Coast gangster shit. So I had this like almost like a East Coast West Coast battle in my own house.
In the house.
And so this like, and then I was always torn in between both. So I just had a lot of exposure to hip hop, and I was always rapping and learning verses. I could learn verses real quick. I remember rapping like Slick Rick verses when I was 5 and stuff.
Wow.
You know, I remember just being able to learn lyrics real fast. But I don't know. I recorded my first song when I was like 14 on a karaoke machine. It was dedicated to my grandfather who passed away, and a bunch of my friends thought it was dope. And I was like, all right, well, maybe I'm all right at this.
Yeah.
But I didn't really take it serious until I was graduated high school. And something clicked. I mean, I found out I was gonna be a father of twins, and I just kind of I don't know. Most people would be like, all right, let me not make music. Let me go get a job. Something in me was like, I'm really gonna try for this hip hop shit, you know. And I just started writing all the time and recording, and then shows started popping up. And I don't know, something about becoming a father made me want to. I don't feel like I wanted to just get like boggled down by the 9 to 5 and just like live this routine life. I feel like I had to be creative, and I had to like exemplify that for my children too. So.
No doubt. So when you started doing, you mentioned shows, and it just makes me wonder, what was the scene like in Portland when you first started making music, when you first started doing shows?
Oh man, that was a long time ago. It's like 16 years ago now, something like that. I started out rocking with, I don't know if you know, he went by Alaj. He goes by XO Supreme now.
Okay, word.
Yeah.
I know of him. I don't know that I've met him.
So I started out with him and then another friend from the neighborhood, because me and him grew up close to each other. So he actually kind of like helped put me on. I got my first show through him. And then, you know, I had a group with Ep called Rooks Point, and that was like one of my first groups. But
Which is crazy, because I feel like I'm trying to remember how I learned that. It might have been doing an episode or just chopping up with Ep when I learned that y'all rocked. I had no idea, bro.
Yeah, man. I was trash back then. He was nice. He still is nice. So I think that's probably played a role in why we didn't make it. I'm not mad at these cats. You know, Dane did the same thing. I think Dane was like, man, Diesel P got to get better. I can't be seen with this dude. But the scene was I don't know how to describe it. I know Sand People was doing it. The OGs were like obviously Cool Nuts, Sand People. I don't know, who was I rocking with? The Sand People had shit on lock back then. You know, they had all these little subgroups too. You know, Sapien, the Baser, all that stuff. It was dope. I don't know. There's a lot of hip hop scenes, all ages. I remember we used to pack out shows in my early 20s. I think that's just before like my fan base got responsibilities and shit.
Right. Cats grow up.
Right, cats grow up, and it's like, yo, I can't get a sitter for the night. I can't make a show. You know, I'm in my mid 30s now, so it's a little tougher but the scene was dope and encouraging. I just remember like Moby of Sand People took me out to lunch to just, you know, like drop gems on like how I remember they used my boy Murr, you know Mr. Murr?
Know the name again.
They used to Gray Matters.
No Gray Matters.
Yeah, they used to like let me know like, you're playing too many Portland shows, man. Like people aren't gonna come out to your shows if you play every week. You know, and there's just always places to play, man. We used to run this hookah spot, Tony's Hookah Lounge. Yeah, man. We just find anywhere to rap. Yeah.
Which is so cool. I've learned over the years, there's so much rich history when it comes to hip hop in Portland, and we're telling that story more and more now. But the story, I think there's so much more to it. I had an opportunity to do an episode of Klyph Notes with Zone, and it's so many of the cats who I've had on the podcast or even on the radio show are from like just people who I've networked with, you know what I'm saying? And to talk to Zone and be reminded of, that there's a whole other side of geographically of the city and cats who are doing music over here. There's so many great stories of Portland hip hop.
I just made a post on Facebook like the other day where I was like, just, you know, how people ask like, where'd you first meet me? Or how do you know? So that shit was, I mean, I got, 400 responses and people just talking about bringing up old times of us rocking. I remember my first tour with like Bad Habitat and all that, and we were just kids, like we didn't know what we were doing, sleeping on the ground in places, like, it's just, I really feel blessed to be able to be a part of this scene for so long, and still be playing shows and still be a part of it. So it's wild. It's just been a lot of fun. Real like abnormal life, you know. I really, for lack of, I don't want to be rude, but I really, I really am glad I don't have like a boring routine life. I really feel for people that live that. You know, I'm happy I get to play shows and do stuff like that. So.
So for me, as I began, like the basis of a lot of what I've done in terms of building with the local scene has been the radio show. So as I started building that, my goal was to just give a platform to everybody. And I remember when I was working on, when I was an artist and trying to make it in the scene, and knowing how difficult it is to get through certain doors. And I said, I never want to do that. I always want to be open to any and every one early in the process. But I also have certain sensitivities and things that I'm drawn to. I've always been drawn to that East Coast sound. You know what I'm saying? And that's just a part of what I grew up on.
Right.
But then also I'm about lyricism and I'm about content more than the turn up, more than the party. And I think that there's a place for everything. So for me, I feel like those are some of the things that drew me to you when I first started listening to your music. Was you're a lyricist, you got content. Is that something that's purposeful? Like when you're writing or when you're creating your art, do you go into it with that in mind, or is it just not? I mean, that's just kind of, that's what comes out.
Yeah, I've always been like that. Even like before hip hop, I was I had hoop dreams. You know, I thought I was gonna go to the league. You know, I always, one part of of making up that much money is I wanted to always give back. I don't know. My mom was like that too. She was like the type to do like sponsor a child or something. You know what I'm saying? Like buy lambs or something. For, you know, so she was always trying to help out the best she could. And I think I just like kind of adopted that. Because on top of the content, I was also doing, you know, just like 19, 20 years old, I was out like putting together talent shows for teenagers and rapping that swim. I don't remember if I was doing the Teen Swim live. I remember seeing posters for Teen Swim. Yeah, I used to have artists come out and just like rap at swimming pools all over the community centers and stuff, and I caught on pretty good. I don't know. I just it's definitely intentional, and I felt like there needed to be Talib Kweli was a huge influence on that, because for a long time I didn't even think I could rap. Because I wasn't gangster. I didn't grow up, selling drugs, doing that stuff. So that was like really a misconception that I thought I had. I couldn't rap because of that. And then I heard, Talib and Common and all them, and I was like, oh, you can have a totally different voice. And so I just started speaking my truth and what I wanted to see changed in the world, and then I also wanted to be an actual like activist and actually do that. So yeah, very intentional. At this point, it's just like I really enjoy counteracting the what's like normal in the mainstream. Like what the normal content of the mainstream. That's why I just dropped a song called like "Accept Rejection," where it's teaching men how to accept rejection from women. I just like to be the counteract, the different, the other side of the voice.
Yeah, which again is dope. But I think it shows a lot of. This is going to sound crazy, but I think to a certain degree, it shows a lot of courage, and it shows a lot of confidence in yourself when you realize, hey, I can do this, and it's okay to do this. And to a certain degree, even though you're like, I don't know how, but like you can rap, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can rap, so
that
you
helps.
have an opportunity. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Helps.
You have an opportunity to take this content and put it in present it in such a fashion that people will rock with it.
Right. I feel like. Yeah, and I really am aware of those type of things. I'm aware of like a lot of my privileges. I'm a good looking dude. I'm tall. I can rap pretty well, and people like me. So I feel like gives me a good platform to also try to get this message out. And it's important to me. I really believe in the stuff that I talk about too.
No doubt.
And that's why I'm a school counselor. Today, like hip hop got me to this point. Because I was doing, workshops teaching teens how to rap, and we, discuss and have like critical thinking around content, and it's important to me, man. That's why I want to make a living out of this stuff. So.
No doubt. I did want to talk about that, and since you brought it up, let's talk a little bit about really what it seems to be an evolution of your process. So, like you said early on, when you would do Teen Swim, and when you would mentor kids or just have that sensitivity to want to work with kids, you've grown that into something that you do in a tangible way right now. Talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, that's wild. I built up so much volunteer experience and actual experience working with populations, working with I was really out there in those communities, working with them, that like it just started manifesting into like real jobs. I got my first job probably about 11 years ago as a residential treatment counselor at a shelter for teenage girls. And then they just took a chance on me because they were like, first of all, how many times do you get to see like black males that are this passionate about this type of work? Right. So they just gave me a chance. I had no degree or nothing, just gave me a chance. And then from there, I just kind of snowballed into more and more opportunities. And I got the word, I started becoming the charity MC, like the MC that gives back. And I talk about some of the issues with that too, because people didn't want to pay me. Right. Yeah. It's like, I need to be paid too. So I talk about that, finding that balance between. And Klyph Notes is actually one of the first people who's like, it's dope that you give back so much, but we got to make some money out of it. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Especially I'm feeding 2 kids and stuff. So just like slowly transition into all these opportunities. And I got my foot in the door at this job, doing my hip hop workshops. And just they hired me as an independent contractor to teach about how to rap, rhythm and poetry, basically. And then they saw how I was working with these young men and women and non-binary, and just had a position open up. And they were like, "We need you." They like recruited me. Like, you gotta do this, but you gotta go back to school. So now I'm finishing up my bachelor's.
That's what's up.
And social science and Black studies. So
no doubt, bro. Yeah. So cool. And even that, I can think of things that I've seen you talk about on social media, not even just recently, like over the years, where you've done such a good job, I think, of asking questions or having us ask ourselves questions of how we move through life, which is cool. And I wonder, what impact being an artist, especially being an MC, has on the people that follow you on social media. I'm thinking more of like your fans or youth that follow you. Do you think that those questions resonate more with them because you're a rapper? It's not just coming from, this is just like the community center guy.
Yeah, I do. I think, like I said, I have a platform and I have privileges that I know that I have. And like I stated before, and I do think that people listen more because of that, like because I'm people think I'm cool, man. Like they really do. Some people, not everybody. But so I understand that, and that's why I like to push the envelope. And I'm also, I'm becoming a sociologist, so I'm studying society. I like to watch people and see why people act the way they do. I read up on things, so I just like to put it out there. And I've always been that dude. I had a lot of times I irritate my friends because we'll be at a party and trying to be lighthearted and have a lighthearted conversation. And I'm like, well, but also, So I don't know. It's just fun to see why things are the way they are. Yeah. I'm constantly pondering what's going on in this world. Yeah. What is reality? I mean, I'm always in my head.
Yeah. Which can be
not always a good thing.
I would say, which can be heavy. You know what I'm saying?
Which can
be heavy. So in a situation like that, though, I would imagine that being an artist helps balance that, or at least gives you the outlet to get out of your head. Exactly.
You nailed it. I mean, that's why I continue to do this. I mean, I could, once a week I think about quitting because I'm probably breaking even with hip hop these days. Yeah. Maybe not even that, because I'm always putting more and more money trying to push it more. Right. So I could easily just be like, all right, done with hip hop and save money.
Yeah.
But that outlet is so important to me. If I wasn't doing that, I'd be so depressed. I'm already an anxious dude. I battle with depression here and there, mostly seasonal. If I didn't have those opportunities to get on stage and build, not only get my message out, because I'm not great at talking. I don't think I'm a good talker. I'm constantly stuttering and mumbling stuff like that. So, but through actual premeditated rhymes and stuff where I'm actually putting my thoughts out in a poetic and artistic form and being able to get my message out in that way, and also allow people to take my lyrics and kind of convey them in their own ways too and get their own message and their own emotions out of it. It's a beautiful thing. Not to mention, it also creates adrenaline, creates, serotonin or something like that. Stuff like that. There's highs that I get on stage that I can't get from any kind of strain of weed. Anything, you know what I'm saying?
And I think,
anything.
I think we've seen that. Like, I mean, that's scientifically proven that's you do get this endorphin release. When you get
endorphins.
In that situation.
That's what it is.
So this is a question that just came to mind, and I've never really asked anyone this. So I was on this journey myself, and to a certain degree still a little bit now, but as an artist, at what point did you decide I'm gonna just go with my government name?
Oh man, probably when I started the band, because then I was like, well, the band has a name, so I don't need to, and nobody else in my band had like monikers. So I was like, do I need to be? And I mean, at first, I was getting billed as Diesel P and the Speaker Minds, and I was like, nah.
I think I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember seeing that.
And I was like, I want this band to be more like, I don't want to be like, I could be the leader, but I don't want it to be like known like that. Yeah. So I think that's what it was just like, at this point, Diesel P, I wasn't doing Diesel P anymore. I was just doing Speaker Minds for a good 7 years. Yeah. And so I was just like, I'm just going to be Randal Wyatt of Speaker Minds. Yeah. And I think, and then also with Fifth, I almost just went by Wyatt too. But then I went solo again, and I was just like, I feel like my as an MC, I'm not much different than I am as just my regular self. Right. I'm kind of like the same person. The same stuff I say in my rhymes, I'll probably say to you here. You know? So I didn't feel like I needed to be this other persona. Yeah.
It's funny. I asked that question because
plus that name is whack.
You gotta rock with that, B. You know what I mean? It's funny though, because I can remember, like, I'm old enough to remember when everybody had the name, and there was always something that was sort of common with rapper names. You know what I'm saying? There was always something ski. You know what I'm saying? And then there was always the Lil. And the Lil has stood the test of time, which is crazy.
Lil,
to me.
young,
you know what
big,
I'm saying? Exactly.
Key.
Yep, right. So and you touched on another thing I want to talk about. So I remember seeing you doing your solo situation, and I couldn't remember which came first, if seeing you rock with Fifth or when you created Speaker Minds, which came first.
What did come first?
I feel like they were close.
So they were very close, and I think what I was doing I think they actually happened like the same time. Okay. Because I started a crew with this dude Landon, Worswell, Fifth, and DJ Outclass. Okay. We called it Civil Rights. Yes. And we dropped the EP. Yep. And it was hot, man.
Yeah, it was. I played joints off of that. Yeah.
That's when I was like, okay, like I got, because people kept telling me about Fifth. People kept talking like, you and Fifth need to get there. Luck One was always like, you and Fifth need to link up.
Shot the Fifth sequence, man. Yeah, bruh.
That dude's beats.
Oh my gosh.
We got something coming out real soon. Here,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Like if y'all haven't checked it out, y'all look for the Fifth and Wyatt joint. It's out right now. It's available. But anyway, go ahead.
So, that Civil Rights happened, but then Landon went off and did his own thing. And actually, me and Landon started Speaker Minds together, too. So it was going to be two MCs in a band. Okay. But then he went off, and so me and Fifth just kind of broke off, did our own thing. Yeah. And that last project we put out took like 5 years to put out, man. And I kept I remember you kept asking, like, what's going on with this, man? Yeah. We dropped the single like 3 years before we dropped the project. Mm-hmm. But then and then I started the band. I was just doing the most at that time.
Yeah. The band, the idea of having a live band, was that something that always seemed of interest to you, like something you thought you'd always do, or did that just happen organically? Like, where did that even come from?
That happened when I was on the road with Nikon, DJ Nikon, and Nikon. Sapient.
Okay.
I was on the road with them for about 10.
Bro, just the fact that, you know what I'm saying, you was rocking with them. Yeah. That's crazy.
I know.
Sape's one of my favorite producers, MCs.
Well, Sape and Nikon were using me for my car. They just needed me to they were just like, yeah, we'll let this dude do like 3-4 songs. But we need his Impala. No, that was a good time. That was a great time. Honestly, one of the best experiences of my hip hop career. Yeah. But when I was on the road though, my CD kept skipping because back then I was rapping over CDs and stuff. Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. And then it kept skipping. I was having issues, and I was like, I wouldn't have this problem if I had live musicians. Little did I know, lot more work comes into it. Having instruments, way more room for error, way more. But that's what sparked it. I was just like on the road, and I was just kind of getting sick of rapping over digital stuff. I wanted to try something new. And when I got the name, it was a trip because we were like driving through Utah, and I guess there's like a festival out there called Speak Your Mind. And when Nikon said it, I thought he said Speaker Minds, and I was like, that's dope. Yeah. And then I got home, started putting out feelers for musicians. Man, they just started falling on my lap, man. I think it happened so quick. Like I hear people trying to start bands, they're like struggling. I had no problems, zero problems. It's just people were like helping me find them, so it was cool. Yeah. And then that's how we got Speaker Minds.
So run down who's in Speaker Minds
right now. We have Adrian Adele. She sings.
Shout out to Adrian.
We got Jonathan McGuire, bass player. Okay. Rob Jameson, drums. Ajay Marshall, guitarist. He's in everybody's band. And Desmond Spann, keys.
No doubt. I can't remember where I heard the story. I don't know if you just shared it with me in conversation or if you did one time you was on the radio show. But can you tell a story of how Adrian got in the band? It's such a cool story to me.
Yeah, it's dope. Well, she loved us, and she would do our photography and our graphic design.
Dope photographer.
Never heard her sing once during that whole time. No idea. And then we had Deborah. She was in the band. She was pretty known in the music scene too. And she just wasn't feeling it. We got off the road, and she just wasn't feeling it no more, which is fine. She ended up taking off to Spain to teach English and stuff, so she's doing great.
Speaker Minds in Portland, teaching in Spain.
Right, yeah. She made a great choice. And then we were like, oh shit, we gotta go find somebody. We gotta find somebody soon. We have shows coming up. And Adrian's like, I go to all your shows, and I can sing. I know your lyrics. And she's like, we were like, yeah, whatever. Okay, let's take the picture. That's it. Yeah, but she was like, "No, I got this, and I know your stuff." We were like, "Yeah, why not?" And she just nailed it, and we didn't have to rehearse anybody else or audition anybody else. She just killed it.
That's so cool.
We came out, and literally like a couple weeks later, we ended up playing like the Crystal Ballroom, and she was on point.
That's
she
what's
just got
up,
it.
man.
Yeah. That's a little rusty at first, but
gotta find.
She wasn't singing because I feel like she said she took a big break from. She used to be in like Hungry Mob with like Mike Crenshaw. And all that.
Word! I didn't realize that.
Yeah, she did all that. I think in the late '90s, early 2000s. But then she took probably like a 10-year break from singing. Yeah. And then we brought her in.
That's what's up, man.
And people love her, man. Like we just played some shows out in Cali last week.
I saw that. Yeah.
People just lose their mind for her. Yeah. I'm like, I'm starting to put her in the middle now. She's front and center, and I'm just on the side rapping. Yeah. People don't have to see me.
The Cali situation, how'd that come about?
Oh yeah, we went down to Cali last year too. Okay. We always try to like, 3 of us in the band are educators, so we get the summer off. Like I'm almost done with my break, unfortunately, because I'm in a year-round school. It's an alternative school. Yeah. So we always pick the summer to head down to Cali, or like we also played in Reno. So, but we just try to hit the road, and we got people down there, and we're a pretty known band around here, so people give us a shot. Yeah. So yeah,
that's what's up. Some questions about the road. I just had an opportunity to do an episode with Lisa Vasquez, which was really, really cool. If you haven't checked that out, you got to check out the Lisa Vasquez episode of Klyph Notes. And we were talking about touring, and she shared some things with me that were really, really interesting that I didn't even realize I wanted to talk to you about. But before we do that, I just want to once again remind people about folk who help support what we do here with the Klyph Notes podcast. Shout out to my folk over at Acapella Apparel. Such a dope company, really, really cool gear. They've got some amazing t-shirts, hats, just all kinds of clothing, especially in the summertime, man. Really, really cool stuff. I'm rocking the Hip Hop Boulevard t-shirt right now. But you should check it out, man. Acapella Apparel. Their website is acapella.com. It's AKEPELE.com. So check them out. Get yourself some fresh gear for the summer. Even have some gear for you to cover in the winter. I know they're working on some new stuff, so you definitely want to follow them on social media. But once again, man, check out the website. It's Acapella Apparel. The website is AKEPELE.com. So I was talking to Lisa, and she was talking about touring, because I hadn't realized how long she'd been doing music. and she said, she's been doing it for like 20 years, and then she'd done these tours, and I was like, man, that must have been crazy, like, trying to book outside of the city. And she was like, well, people don't realize it's work. It's not that hard. Like, you just reach out and you go do it.
Yeah.
Is that what you found, that like it's just a matter of just going to do it?
I think it's easier for her because she's talented as hell.
Yes, she is.
She's crazy talented.
Yes, she is.
It's been a little challenging. I try to, because I'm doing so much outside of music, like school, full-time work, and raising my twin teenagers. And I'm exhausted a lot, and it takes some work. So I try to delegate the work.
Yeah.
It hasn't worked out like I wanted it. So I'm kind of like, I like to do things my own way, but we got a little bit of help now, so it's getting easier.
No,
We got my boy, this dude named Jed from Tender Loving Empire starting to help us. Yeah. So he's been helping us out a little bit. But it's a little bit of work, with the band, it's easier. It just depends. You got to give yourself some notice, though. You got to give yourself some time.
Yeah.
I've found myself trying to book stuff a little last minute, and so I'm learning.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Locally, and you mentioned it, like you have people in the band who are who have the summers off, so maybe that's why. But not even that, bro. Like even during the all during the year, you guys stay busy. Like you guys stay busy, which I think is really, really cool. And to do that as a band, as you mentioned, some of the challenges of trying to get everybody together, but you've done that. How old is Speaker Minds as a crew?
So we're about 9 years now.
Okay.
9 years on July 4th.
Congratulations, bro.
Yeah.
That's big.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But you guys stay busy in the city, man. Whether it's headlining shows or playing on other shows, like good for y'all for staying busy like that.
Yeah, and a lot of that stuff is people reaching out to us and just hearing about us, and a lot of that comes down to my content, because the content can be played at for all ages shows.
Right.
And we were able to reach so many different avenues because of how what I talk about, and so that helps a lot. And people, I don't think there's a lot of hip hop bands out there, anyways, in Portland.
Right.
Or in the Northwest in general, especially ones that are talking about or sound like us. So that helps a lot. But yeah, I know it's a blessing, man.
Yeah.
They just reach out to us, and we get all these gigs, usually in the summertime too.
Right.
So it's
Right.
nice.
It works out well.
This is when we make a little bit of dough too. It's cool.
No doubt. That's important. You know what I'm saying? That's important. So started off for the most part solo MC. Had been in a couple crews. Most consistently Speaker Minds, doing your thing, which is great. Now, absolutely an established band.
Yeah.
An established part of the Portland hip hop scene as a band, but also solo MC and starting to release content as a solo MC.
Yeah.
Like, let me know what's up with that, bro.
I'm excited about that. I've been performing. I just played a show in San Francisco last Sunday.
Okay.
And but yeah, I have so much music that wasn't able to really get out with the band, you know what I mean? Or like maybe they weren't feeling something. And so I was like, I got all these lyrics, I got all these, hooks. And plus I also wanted to just rap over stuff that sounded different. So I'm working with like Fifth, of course, and then DJ Flip Flop.
Oh, word.
I got production from Dirty Revival, Evan Flo, and Chris over there. So I just wanted to also like be able to branch out and work with different people and collaborate more, which was a little harder to do with the band. So yeah, with that though, it's dope. I just did a song with Gift of Gab, you know what I'm saying? Like that's
so crazy.
That's honestly mind blowing to me because that's like a top 5 MC to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got a lot of music coming out, man. I just felt like I wasn't hitting a void that I want. I wasn't hitting a side of hip hop that I wanted to.
Yeah.
And the boom bap stuff was always great too. But there's this, I don't know. I have a lot of music in me.
Yeah.
I got a lot of music in me.
Yeah.
So.
But I think that's cool. So you mentioned earlier Sand People. And I think of groups like Sand People, groups like Old Dominion. I'm a fan of crews anyway, but I think it's also cool when you have people who are creating music as a part of a collective or even just a duo or a trio, and then they can go and work on and release music as an individual artist and it be so good. And like you said, it doesn't necessarily fit maybe in maybe what you know them for. I mean, I know that as Speaker Minds, Randal Wyatt has been introduced to people who may not have known you otherwise.
Right.
But now when they see you step out on your own, it obviously can expand your fan base.
Exactly.
But you also get an opportunity to see that other side of an individual, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know, I just wanted to have full creative control over something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I love the band. I love creating with other people, but I also wanted to, like, on a lyrical and like songwriting level, just if I get a beat, it's mine. I'm gonna make this what I want to do. Even with the Fifth and White, you know, it's always fun bouncing off ideas, and we co-write really well together.
Yeah.
But I still, like, I don't know, I just want to have something I could be selfish with.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So is the plan to just kind of play with ideas and release singles here and there? Is the plan to do a full Randal Wyatt EP album?
At this point, I just want to put out a single. I just want to put music out. I've done the whole project. I got like 10 albums. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Only like 2 of them are available now.
Right.
I've done that so many times. I was just like, and it's always such a long process, and I'm always so like anxious and eager to get the music out. I'm just like, as soon as I create a song, I'm just going to put it out. And that's just kind of like the day and age I feel like it is. It's like, get the content out. People aren't really buying music. Streams aren't paying you nothing.
Right.
I just want people to hear what I sound like and then book me for shows.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun. Like, I just like building up a new brand, my own government, you know, my government name, but building this new brand. So I just want to get as much music out as I can at this point. Maybe at some point I'll like do an EP, but I just want to get music out.
No doubt. So you mentioned just doing a solo show down in San Francisco. Do you have plans right now for any shows between now and, you know, the end of the year?
Yeah, I have a couple solo ones coming up. August 6th, I'm playing at Woodlawn Park. They're doing some sort of event there. I should have looked that up. And then I'm playing the Alberta Street Fair on August 10th.
Okay.
Yeah, with DJ Zone.
Oh, shout out to Zone, man.
So I've been working with him quite a bit. He's an amazing engineer. So I've been recording with him. He's been my DJ for most of my shows. Him and Oz Rock, and I work a little bit with Andy Stack. So but I got a couple gigs, and then the band, we got a ton of gigs coming up in late August, September.
Okay.
All that,
so when you're, you know, if people go to see Speaker Minds, will you do any solo material, or will you keep that? The Speaker Mind show is a Speaker Mind show.
Right now they've been separate, but we've been talking about it, like maybe doing a few songs here and there.
Yeah.
Really, I like to like try to recreate solo songs with the band, and that way they kind of have their own feel with the band, but also it allows us to play longer sets. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's already content created. Now I just need the music from the band. So I think that's the route we might go, is just like kind of recreating some joints.
Yeah. What an amazing show that would give you an opportunity to present to people. I think in this day and age, as you mentioned, it's so cool. I think that people have the capacity to make music and put the music out via whatever, SoundCloud,
right?
You know, whatever, which I think is cool. I think sometimes the challenges, in my opinion, I think it can be hard to recreate that. And I think to have the capacity, the talent to, the vision to recreate that on stage. And then you're talking about even taking it to another level where, like, here's the record that you're used to hearing on the radio, whatever the case may be. It sounds totally different because now I'm playing with a live band.
Right.
Like, does that resonate with you at all, that you have the capacity to do something different than maybe the next bedroom producer or MC?
Oh yeah, I understand the situation I'm in. I can't believe I got into this situation, man. Like, to be able just to have like talented musicians at my disposal.
Yeah.
Talented, engineers, producers, all this. I have so many. It's the people around me, you know. I'm really lucky to have that, and I know what I got going for me, man. It's really great, but it's a lot of work. I ain't gonna lie, you know what I'm saying? It is a lot of work, but it's worth it. It's worth it. Yeah.
At this stage of your career, then, you mentioned it, just releasing a song with Gift of Gab. Would you say that at this stage that's the highlight of your musical career, or is there something that you feel like, nah, that's the thing? That's the thing that, you know,
that's up there. That's up there, man. Like, to be able to do a song with that dude is incredible. Yeah. I've played some big shows though that are up there too. Like, to be able to play, open up for KRS-One and Olympia, that one will always stand out because he gave us a huge shout out on stage. You know, I also opened for Sir Mix-a-Lot at the Portland Rose Festival
Recently.
this year. In May.
Yeah.
And to just like be able to be on stage with Sir Mix-a-Lot while he's performing Baby Got Back, like, that's dope. Like, you know, the crowd was dope. It was at least, you know, close to 1,000 people out there, or something like that. So yeah, but it is definitely like to have something that's going to be timeless and forever, to have like Gift of Gab on a track with me. Yeah, that's definitely up there.
That's what's
definitely
up.
up there.
So for me, not being a Portland native, let alone Northwest native,
Where are you from?
most recently Louisiana.
Oh, okay.
Started my life in the Northeast in Jersey.
Oh, okay.
That's sort of been my path. Fan of hip hop, fan of music, fan of the Northwest scene, and I feel blessed to have had an opportunity to support it. But even though I feel like I'm a part of the Northwest hip hop scene.
Absolutely.
I still have an opportunity to look at it differently as a fan. Mm-hmm. So, you know, my perspective might be a little bit different from someone who came up in Portland, came up as an artist in Portland, has sort of, you know, worked that path. I asked earlier what it was like, what the scene was like when you were coming up. Years later now, where you are as an artist in Portland, what's your view of the Portland hip hop scene now?
The scene now. Well, I feel like we lost a lot of like venues, and you know, we know about that issue out there. They took away a lot of our venues. But there's a lot of talented artists. I like going out and seeing these new artists. I feel like it's very eclectic. Mm-hmm. I feel like there's some unity. I'm starting to learn. Some people are working with people that I didn't even know knew each other. You know, it's dope. Yeah. I don't know. I'm enjoying it, but I've also I've been in like a whole different lane for a long time. So not that I'm not tapped in. I am tapped in, and I'm actually trying to make sure that I am. I'm going to shows a lot and stuff, and making sure I know this next generation. Yeah. And but I've also been off like the Speaker Mind stuff. When everybody was out, when they were taking away venues and stuff, I wasn't really experiencing that because I had this band that was like, can do everything. We were opening for rock bands and all this stuff. Like we could do it all. So I wasn't lacking for shows and stuff. But I love it. I'm loving the scene, and I'm making sure that I'm supporting it. I'm really understanding like the meaning or how important the community, you know, being an actual supporter and coming out to like mic check and all that stuff, man. Well, I'm happy with it.
You know, a question comes to mind now, and you mentioned that being a part of Speaker Minds, you didn't necessarily experience that venues going away, and I think that it's an actual measurable fact that there are venues that existed that no longer exist. Mm-hmm.
Or they created the dress codes and you know, or there's the insurance policies that make it a lot more difficult to book hip hop, and you know they've put little systemic things in place that helped, or you know, disbanded a lot of these venues. So,
as an older head, and I don't go out to as many shows as I did earlier in my time, you know, working with the scene. Mm-hmm. So it's really it's a little bit harder to tell, but do you think that we can like there's still a lot of places where you can go see hip hop shows in Portland. Right. And I just wonder sometimes if we don't celebrate that, if we don't celebrate what actually is available to us. Am I wrong in looking at it that way?
No, I think that's great. That's a good way to look at it. We do. We still have those. I feel like more have come back. I feel like there was a period of time where it was getting pretty desolate. Yeah. And then I think we started, you know, standing up and making some noise. I remember doing some interviews and stuff about this type of thing. And I feel like some venues came back and we're like, okay, we can do, we need to start, you know, including the hip hop community again. Yeah. But we definitely do need to celebrate that. And, I appreciate people like you know, that you call yourself just a fan, but you're more than that. You know, you provide platforms, man. Like you're not rapping. You're out here giving people an opportunity to share their art. And you're an enthusiastic fan, man. That's huge. Like you're the type of dude that like uplifts artists and helps us and like keeps us going. You know what I'm saying? So. We definitely got to celebrate that. We got to celebrate all the events. We got a lot of like monthlies and weeklies and stuff going on too.
Absolutely,
so,
absolutely.
And I want to say on the point of the community, the hip hop community here, as somebody who's traveled quite a bit, we got some talent here. Like we got some real spitters here, man. I've been to some other places and heard some opening acts for like big names too, man. And I'm like, whew, there's some artists out here. They wouldn't make it out here.
Yeah,
man, you know.
Yeah.
So
which is really, really cool to hear. I think, and going back, man, I want to give a huge shout out to a couple people. McMenamins as a whole. I think one of the things that happened is as things may have been in place that were unfair to the local hip hop scene. I think what ended up happening, and I think when you're in it, it's hard to see it, but I think that there were a lot of people who had resources in the city who actually just didn't know that this is what was happening.
True.
And I think as people began to hear, wow, this is real, with some of the news coverage that we got, some of the media coverage that we got of things that were going on, people like McMenamin stepped up and said, hey, we didn't realize, we hear what's happening. What can we do? So right. shout out specifically to Lori and Jennifer from McMenamin's. And because of their heart, that's where Mic Check came from.
And it took raising awareness.
It did.
And that's what it comes, sometimes that's what it comes down to, because not everybody's tapped in.
Right.
Not everybody's tapped in. You gotta tap them in.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, look what's going on.
Absolutely.
We need your resource. So
no doubt.
And that's one thing I wasn't, in my younger years, I was like always on the computer, just booking and reaching out and letting people know who I am, what we're doing. So if other artists aren't doing that, then you're not gonna get the shows. You're not gonna get, you gotta really like, I don't have it in me like that no more. I'm too tired these days. But yeah, I had to grind. I was hungry back then. Yeah.
Well, and you bring up another point. I can remember talking to Henri Osborne when he did Mic Check. We were just chopping it up, and he was sharing with me how things were when early on, and especially in the days of Old Dominion, and Sam people, I'm sure, are the same. The idea of how to market yourself, whether it be booking shows outside of your neighborhood, or like just how do you do that? And I wonder if that's a bit of a lost art, because it's so easy for me right now to make a song, put it on the internet, and then get a lot of gratification because so many people are liking or retweeting or reposting that it gives me this sense of, but that doesn't necessarily translate into getting in front of an audience or getting outside of my neighborhood. And the things that you just talked about, like having to get on the internet and reach out to people. I've had an opportunity to talk to some young cats and have been able to educate them. Like, I have a platform that's free to you.
Right.
All you got to do is send me a radio edit, and that's going to reach an audience that's not following you on SoundCloud. So how do we as individuals get that word? Like, educate youngsters, or not even youngsters, just educate people who don't know that you have to do more than just make the music.
There's a lot of aspects to this. It's exhausting. There's a lot. And it's more and more as we get further and further, advanced, technological advancement.
Right.
And I remember when I first came out, I was like selling CDs out the trunk of my car, man, like at Lloyd Center, just walking up to people like, Now it's like you got to have an account on 20 different social medias, it's luckily now there's like DistroKid that you can just hand your music, they'll distribute, everywhere for you. But yeah, they got to understand there's different aspects and that things don't really fall in your lap, and there's like millions of artists now. Right. You know what I mean? So like for me, I know I see artists that never play shows, but they got like 100,000 views on their videos. Me, I'm barely scratching 5,000 views and I'm playing all the time.
Right.
So it's like, I need to be better at my marketing. That's hard, but I know how to get a show. Yes. And also I perform well, and that's always been my bread and butter though. It's putting on a show. So then how do you measure that then? I mean, is it more important to have because I've had people reach out to me, yo, you should play my song on your radio show because I have X number of views or streams. And rest in peace, Star Child, man. I used to have these sorts of conversations with Star Child all the time, where I think sometimes artists, where they put their energies or what they value doesn't necessarily translate into progressing their career. Right. So if you're telling me that Speaker Minds or Randal Wyatt, like, I'm doing shows all year long. I don't have a lot of streams, but I'm doing shows all year long. Right. Versus the artist who says, I never do shows, but I have 1 million downloads. Right. Like, I think it's just a different avenue. Maybe they're going for YouTube money, hitting a certain, you hit a certain point with YouTube views, you start getting like advertisement money. I don't know. Maybe they're doing that. I think that's hard to do. It's a lot easier to make money if you can just work on your live show and go out, put on a good show.
Right.
But if, not everybody's music maybe translates live either.
Okay.
I think that's a thing. Maybe they don't have the voice. Maybe they're putting hella auto-tune on it and they don't know how to recreate that. I don't know. My music recorded is really organic. I'm able, actually one compliment I get a lot is like how my live show sounds a lot like the record, sounds like the record.
Yeah.
And maybe I should use more autotune or something.
Nah, bro. Keep doing what you do, bro. For real.
But yeah, I don't know. I think that people just don't know, and I think that I don't know if people put a lot of effort into people rap over their tracks. They rap over their vocals. I don't know if people find the value when I was coming up. Your live show had to be dope,
right?
But they're not putting you on there, man.
Right.
And even if you didn't bring out a whole lot of people, but if you know how to put on a show, they're gonna. And then word of mouth. With Speaker Minds, it's damn near like word of mouth now. So-and-so told me about y'all, and so I want to book you for this. It helps that I'm in the social work world, too, because a lot of, in the summer, a lot of organizations are trying to get rid of that money so they can get it back.
Right, right.
The fiscal year is almost over, and then they throw events, and so I get a lot of those events, too.
That's what's up.
And, so, yeah, I just think I don't know. It's just where they're putting investing their time. Yeah.
Well, I think it's cool, once again, that you have the life experience, the artistic life experience, that you can not only grow your craft as you have, but can be a voice to up and coming artists, ways that they can maybe create longevity. Because you've been doing this for a while, B, and there's a lot of cats who are hot for a hot second, and then you don't hear from them anymore.
It's a live show, man. I put on a show, and it's pretty wild because I feel like I've changed my name and done so many. I remember you're always like, "Wait, who are you now?" So you Fifth and Wyatt, or you Speaker Mind, Diesel P. Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's just like being personable. It's like running a business. And, if you have a good business, if you're personable, good customer service, and you provide a good service, they're gonna keep coming back. And that's one thing we do. And it's not just me. I got great people around. I got a team, a solid team. That helps a lot.
So you mentioned you definitely have some shows coming up, solo stuff. Mm-hmm. Speaker Minds is going to be busy definitely throughout the end of the year. You're active on social media. If people, whether it be social media or website, if people want to follow you, want to plug in and see, okay, what's happening, it's the easiest way to do that.
Right now, I want people to follow my Spotify. I'm trying to get my Spotify hot. And you can just look up Randal Wyatt, Randal with one L. I'm pretty serious about that one L. You know what I'm saying? Because people always try to put two L's, man. Stop putting two L's on the bill, man. So Randal Wyatt, you can find Randal Wyatt Music on Facebook. On the Instagram, Randal Wyatt SM, SM for Speaker Mind. Find me on Spotify, iTunes, all that stuff. I only got 3 tracks out right now under Randal Wyatt. I got a lot more coming. And then Speaker Minds, it's just Speaker Minds. We're everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, all that good stuff.
No doubt.
Yeah, everything.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Man, look, like I said, it's been cool to watch the growth of your career just in the time that I've known you, and obviously your career started before we connected. But it's cool to see the longevity. I definitely celebrate that. I know that it's, especially in the music world or in the arts world or entertainment world, it's hard to maintain that. I don't know that I was about to say recreate, but I don't think I feel like you've recreated yourself as much as you've grown into your art, which I think is dope. And I'm happy for you, bro. I'm happy for sort of this new growth that you have as a solo artist. I'm glad that Speaker Minds continues to be a thing, and just really excited to watch what the rest of this year and into next year brings, bro.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate that. It's really like I keep saying, I really appreciate this stuff, and I've actually changed my relationship with hip hop. I always wanted to blow up and be big and famous. I don't even care about that stuff. I don't even know if that's going to happen or care if it happens. I just really am excited to be able to hit stages and vibe with people, crowd energy, all that stuff. And making a little extra money is always cool too, you know what I'm saying? So, but I appreciate that. Yeah. It's been a lot of work, and it's not just me, you know what I'm saying? It's the community too. They're willing to book me, and they're willing to bringing me out. So that's dope. And the band out. So
no doubt, man.
People like you. You know what I'm saying?
Bro. I'm just doing my part, B.
Yeah.
I'm just doing my part. Randal Wyatt, man, thank you so much for jumping on the podcast, bro. Like I said, this has been a long time coming, and it's cool to be able to hear a lot of the stories and to be able to share those stories with a larger audience. Man, I appreciate it for real.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely,
I appreciate this.
Absolutely, man. Randal Wyatt, check him out in a venue near you, in the many venues that we have here.
That's right. Now, yeah,
exactly. So once again, thank y'all for checking out the Klyph Notes podcast. Remember, it's available on all of your favorite podcast platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora now, iHeart, you name it, we're everywhere. You can also check us out on the X-Ray Podcast Network. Just go to xraypod.com, or you can go to www.klyphnotes.com. Big ups to X-Ray FM for continuing to support the podcast by being gracious hosts of the recording of every episode. And big ups to my guy, Theory Has It, for creating the official theme song for the Klyph Notes podcast. You can hit me up direct at klyphnotes@gmail.com. That's KLYPH notes@gmail.com. Be sure to check into the Welcome to the Neighborhood radio show that airs every Saturday night from 8 to 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time all over the planet. And you can just hit me up direct on social media at DJ Klyph, at DJKLYPH. All right, y'all. Until we have an opportunity to do this again, God bless. Peace.